Hey, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to begin by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Ruach HaKodesh, that belongs to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Well, peace, blessings, salutations to the full electors out there pushing, laboring, believing, and listening on to this truth with heart sincerity. All right, and may the blessing election be upon your houses. All right, the title and topic of this lesson is going to be, don't let a gift destroy you. All right, do not let a gift destroy you. All right, because a lot of times, right, people may be trying to gift you, all right, and it's all in, I guess you could say, it's all in for the wrong reasons, right? You know, and I got this right here from Google, and I just typed in gift as manipulation. All right, because that'll be a number one tactic that you will see people use to try to, you know, get their way or have their way or manipulate somebody, man. You know, when you see Jake in that interrogation room, man, you know what they do. They come in there, the detective will give Jake a burger, you know, give him some fries, you know, give him some food, give him a drink, you know, give him a cigarette, all these type of things, man, right? Ultimately for what? To manipulate that individual into doing what they want, into doing what they need. All right. So again, back to the title, right? Don't let a gift destroy you, man. All right, because a lot of times, man, right, these people don't have genuine motives behind these quote unquote gifts that they may be trying to give you, whether it's, you know, money, food, whatever the case may be, man. All right, but these are some of the points that it says right here. This is from the AI overview. All right, and it reads, it says, gifts can be a form of emotional manipulation when used to influence or control the recipient's behavior or emotions rather than being given out of genuine care or affection, right? And let's continue on. It says, let me see, there was one of them I wanted to get specifically. Oh, here we go. Boom. Gifts used to assuage or as usage or assuage guilt, you know, so like if I'm butchering that word wrong, but it says giving gifts to compensate for past mistakes or lack of attention can be a way to avoid addressing underlying issues, right? So you could have someone that was, you know, a full-blown demon, did a whole bunch of, you know, just a full-blown demon, whatever the case may have been, and now they come out the woodworks, you know, and they're trying to, you know, gift or slither their way back in, man. You know, that's why, again, you can't let that gift destroy. You can't let that gift blind you from your discernment, you know, and so forth, man. Right. And it says also gifts used to control or coerce. And it reads, if a gift is used to pressure someone into doing something they wouldn't otherwise do, it's manipulative. All right. Let me see what else they got in here. I think there was one more. Well, yeah, that's pretty much the point on from here from the AI overview, right? So I want to jump into this just right here. This is Ecclesiastes, the 7th chapter. It's like Ecclesiastes 7:7, and it reads, surely oppression maketh the wise man mad, and the gift destroyeth the heart, right? And you know what came to mind, you know, when I was putting this lesson together, I was thinking about a scene in this show. It's a show called BMF, and in that show, all right, there was this artist, you know, spoiler alert if anybody's watching that, but this is one of the characters on the show, and she was a recovering drug addict, man, and she had a show, right? She was going to perform at a show, and she received a gift box. And when she opened the gift box, it was drugs that she was recovering from, man. Right? And then she ended up taking them drugs and OD'd and died, man. Right? I say this to say, again, be very mindful, right, of certain, you know, gifts that people may try to give you, man. All right? You know, they got a saying, you know, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer, right? Because, hey, Esau, all right, Esau, they're liable to try to, you know, gift you like how they do now, right? They pumped out all those stimulus checks, You know, those $1,200 stimulus checks, you know, giving out, you know, all different types of government assistances and so forth. But whole time they trying to destroy you, man. Right? Whole time, in order to receive those gifts, you know, they got strings attached. Right? And I believe that was one of the bullet points here, if I'm not mistaken. You know, let me see. It might have been on another one I was looking up. But a lot of times they have strings attached, man. Right? So it's not out of sincerity. Right? You know, that gift may very well pull you away from serving Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua. Right? That gift may very well bug you out. All right? You know? So you can't let a gift ruin your discernment, man. You still got to use your discernment and be in the spirit, man. All right? I used to hear this growing up. You know, all gifts aren't good gifts. You know? If someone was a bank robber, all right, someone was a bank robber, they just robbed the bank. They said, hey, man, here's $1 million, right? It wouldn't be a wise thing to take that. Because now you take that, next thing you know, you're in a bad predicament, man. You're in a bad situation, right? Now you got the feds knocking at your door, man, right? And you had no clue, but you were so quick to take a gift from a well-known bank robber, man. All right? This is Ecclesiasticus, the 12th chapter, verse 16. And it reads, an enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagined how to throw thee into a pit. He will weep with his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he would not be satisfied with blood. Right? Again, going back to what I was saying about Esau, Edom, right? They were giving out all these stimulus checks, right? All these loans and so forth, right? You know, another good example too is looking at serial killers, man. Right? Whenever you see all these well-known serial killers from what's that guy name? Jeff guy, man. Shit, I forgot his name. They made a show on him, man. But from serial killers like Ted Bundy and so forth, right? A lot of the time, all their people that encountered them or would have been victims, right? They're always like, oh, this guy was really nice, right? He used to give me this, give me that, right? And a lot of times that they would get their victims, right? They would coerce them or get them with gifts, like, hey, man, you know, hey, here's a case of beer, man. Oh, this guy's pretty cool. Oh, here, hey, man, hey, come over, man. Let's have some drinks. Hey, man, let's go on the camping trip, man. You know, on me. You know, let's go to place A, B, and C. Let's go do this on me, right? But whole time there's wicked intentions behind it. Whole time, you know, that's gonna lead you, you know, to, you know, ultimately you being in a terrible predicament, man. All right. So you can't get caught. You can't get all caught up in the glitz and the glamour of certain gifts, man. No matter what it is, man. Okay. Because at the end of the day, right? Yes, you know, gifts are nice. You know, especially if it's coming from the brotherhood. You know. All right. You know. But dealing with these people in the world, you know, and so forth, man. Hey, be very mindful of gifts, man. All right. For all you know, they probably trying to give you a fucking something that got a bug in it, you know, something that got some type of poison in it, whatever the case may be, man. You know, so be very mindful when it comes down, you know, to these gifts. All right, and at the end of the day, we really focused on the kingdom, man. Right, that's really what we looking forward to, man. We looking forward to the gifts to come from Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua. Right, we looking forward to things that are going to be here for eternity, man. Right. We care less about, you know, $1 million. We care less about, you know, whatever the case it may be here, man. All right, because these things, they're not gonna survive through a missile, man. All right, you're not gonna see, a bag of money getting beamed up, man. All right, and so forth. Okay, let's continue on. All right, and this is an account right here in Second Maccabees, the 8th chapter. It's like a 6th chapter actually. All right, and I really bring this out to show an example of, you know, you know, the manipulation of a quote unquote gift, you know, or I guess you could say a seemingly like it's a good gesture, right? But in reality, it's not. In reality, they're lining you up. In reality, they're setting you up for failure, man. All right. This is Second Maccabees, the 6th chapter, start at verse 18. And it reads, Eleazar, one of the principal scribes, an aged man, and of a well-favored countenance, was constrained to open his mouth to eat swine's flesh. But he, choosing rather to die gloriously, than to live stained with such an abomination, spit it forth, and came of his own accord to the torment. Verse 20. As it behoved them to come that are resolute to stand out against such things as are not lawful for love of life to be tasted. Verse 21. All right, we get to the point. But they had the charge of that wicked feast, for the old acquaintance they had with the man, taking him aside, besought him to bring flesh of his own provision, such as was lawful for him to use, and make it as if he did eat of the flesh taken from sacrifice, commanded by the king, that in so doing he might be delivered from death, and for the old friendship with them find favor. Right? So basically, right, they was trying to get Eleazar to eat swine's flesh, man. Right? And he said, nah, he'd rather die than to do that, man. Then he had some old friends come through. They was like, hey, hey, you could just, you could eat some, bring your own, own meat, own lawful meat, and just pretend like you're eating swine's flesh, man. We looking out for you, coming in like basically like, hey, man, we trying to hook you up, man. So, it's like a gift, man. I'm hooking you up. But what Eleazar do? He stood on business ultimately, man. He stood firm. He stood on it. He said no, right? He said no to it, man. Okay. And that's basically, when I was reading this, I was, thinking about one, before I even get to that, first and foremost, shows you the faith that Eleazar had, man. Right? Keeping that faith all the way into death, man. Okay. And also, when I was reading this, it came to mind that, hey, in the times of Jacob's trouble, in the time when, these wicked elites, could have, the men of the Lord, chained up, locked up in these FEMA camps, whatever the case may be, they might try to do a deal where it's like, hey, you could just pretend like, you're doing this, or pretend like you're taking the Quran or whatever case it may be, and hey, man, we'll hook you up, man. We'll just let you slide, man. Just pretend so the rest of the people can follow after you, man. And we'll give you this, we'll give you that. Ultimately just trying to get you to sell out, man. All right. But what? Eleazar did not do it, man. All right. And let me read verse 23. All right, verse 23, and then I close out with this right here. Verse 23. That's like it. Verse 23. But he began to consider discreetly, and as became his age, and the excellency of his ancient years, and the honor of his gray head, whereon was come, and his most honest education from a child, or rather the holy law made and given by the Most High. Therefore he answered accordingly, and willed them straight ways to send him to the grave, man. Right? So ultimately, don't let these gifts destroy you, man. Don't let these quote unquote promises, destroy you, man. Don't sell out ultimately, man. Stand firm. All right. A gift could cause you to go astray, man. A gift could bug you out, man. All right. The wrong type of gift, I should say, man. All right. But hey, I'm going to wrap it up with that. Lord willing, the source edifying unto the elect of Israel. With that being said, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Ruach Hadash. Double honor to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone Well. Peace, blessings, salutations to the elect that is out there pushing, laboring, believing, and listening on to this truth with heart sincerity. Until next time, shalom, and a ball, Kwam Yasharallah, shalom.